Most women are taught to win a man's commitment by cultivating the light. Be kinder, be softer, be more accommodating. Be the perpetual sunshine, the gentle nurturer, the calm harbor. And while these qualities are beautiful, they represent only half of the feminine soul. By denying the other half, the powerful, primal, and often uncomfortable dark feminine, a woman presents only half of her power. She becomes a predictable, two-dimensional caricature, a pleasant companion who can be loved, but whose absence does not leave an ache in the soul. A man of substance, a high value. Man who is not defined by his wallet, but by his character and his own journey toward wholeness, is not seeking a half-woman. His soul is not hungry for placid comfort. It is starving for a truth, for a reality, for a woman who is a force of nature, embodying both the nurturing sun and the terrifying, beautiful storm. The dark feminine is not about malice or manipulation. It is the Jungian shadow, the collection of powerful, archetypal traits that women have been conditioned to disown. Their fierce boundaries, their emotional sovereignty, their comfort with chaos, their unapologetic ambition. These are not the traits that make a man feel comfortable. They are the traits that make him feel alive. They are the traits that make him realize he is in the presence of a queen, and that the only way to stay is to become a king. The first of these so-called dark traits is the one that both mesmerizes and terrifies him: her unflinching relationship with the truth. This is not about brutal honesty or a lack of tact. It is a serene, unshakable alignment with reality, especially her own. She does not tell herself pretty lies to feel better, and she will not participate in his. She is a woman who has stopped negotiating with her own boundaries. Her no is not a prelude to a negotiation. It is a complete sentence, delivered not with anger, but with the calm finality of a closing door. Her yes is not a concession to keep the peace. It is a wholehearted gift, given freely and without expectation. Do you have any idea how rare and how disruptive this is for a man? He is accustomed to the world of the implicit, the subtle dance of manipulation and persuasion. He is used to women whose boundaries are permeable, whose no can be worn down by charm or pressure. But with her, there is no game to be played. When she states her reality, what she is available for and what she is not presenting an ultimatum. She is simply describing the weather in her world. He is free to bring an umbrella or to stay inside. This lack of drama, this refusal to engage in a power struggle, is the one thing his ego cannot compute. It pushes and meets not a wall of aggression, but the serene, immovable presence of a mountain. His tactics are rendered useless, and in this powerlessness, a profound and terrifying respect is born. He realizes he is not dealing with a player, but with a sovereign, and his soul, long bored of games, leans in. This unflinching truthfulness naturally gives birth to the second dark trait, one that is the very antidote to the modern plague of anxious attachment: her intimacy with emptiness. Most women are terrified of the void. If a man pulls away, creating a space of silence and distance, they rush to fill it. They flood it with texts, with questions, with frantic energy, all in an unconscious bid to close the terrifying gap of his absence. This reveals a fatal truth, that his attention is the source of her peace, and without it, she is in chaos. The woman who embodies the dark feminine has a completely different relationship with absence. She is not afraid of the void. She is nourished by it. Her solitude is not a waiting room. It is a throne room. It is the sacred space where she regenerates, where she creates, where she communes with her own deepest self. So when a man pulls away, she does not chase. She does not even flinch. She simply, and with a sense of profound relief, returns to herself. She lets him go. Do you have any idea what this does to a man's psyche? He is conditioned for the chase, for the predictable dance of pursuit and retreat. He subconsciously expects his silence to be met with her anxiety. It is a subtle test of his own importance, but her response short-circuits his entire reality. He creates a vacuum, and instead of her rushing to fill it, she allows it to exist. And in that shared silence, his is revealed to be an emptiness of anxiety and confusion, while hers is revealed to be an emptiness of peace and substance. He is left alone in the void with only himself for company, and for a man who is not at peace with his own soul, this is a unique form of torment. Her sovereign silence is a mirror, reflecting his own inner noise. He begins to miss her, not because she is playing hard to get, but because he is forced to confront the barrenness of his own inner landscape in her absence. Her presence is a sanctuary of peace, and he now understands that he is the one who walked out of its gates. This is not a tactic. It is the natural result of a life so richly and deeply lived that a man's presence is a welcome addition, but never a requirement. He learns with a swift and brutal clarity that the currency of her attention is precious and finite. It cannot be bought with cheap charm, and it is not given freely to those who are only half present. He realizes that to exist in her world, he must show up, fully and completely. To commit to her is not a chore. It becomes a privilege. It is the only way to gain access to a peace he now understands he cannot find anywhere else, least of all within himself. He commits not to trap her, but in the desperate hope that some of her sacred self-possession will rub off on him. A woman who is intimate with the void of absence naturally possesses the third dark trait, one that is the very essence of her power and mystique: her detachment from the outcome. The average woman, when she enters a connection, is subconsciously attached to a specific result. She wants a relationship, commitment, marriage. Her actions, her words, her very energy are subtly, or not so subtly, aimed at steering the ship toward that predetermined destination. This creates a palpable, low-grade pressure. She is not truly present with the man in front of her. She is in a constant, anxious negotiation with a future that does not exist. The woman who embodies the dark feminine is not a negotiator. She is an observer. Her energy is not fixated on a future goal, but is radically rooted in the present moment. She is with him not because she needs him to become her husband, but because, in this moment, his presence is genuinely interesting, compelling, or pleasurable to her. She is not auditioning him for a role in her future. She is simply experiencing him right now. And if the experience ceases to be interesting, compelling, or pleasurable, she will simply, and without drama, withdraw her attention and place it elsewhere. This is the quintessence of what the Stoic philosopher Seneca called amor fati, a love of one's fate. She accepts reality exactly as it is, not as she wishes it to be. If he is present and engaged, she meets his presence with her own. If he is distant and disengaged, she does not try to change him. She simply observes this new reality and adjusts her own energy accordingly. She does not mourn the loss of a potential future. She honors the truth of the present moment. This detachment is not a sign of disinterest. It is the ultimate sign of self-possession. Her happiness is not a fragile thing she has placed in his hands, contingent on his choices. Her happiness is a state of her own being, and he is simply invited to witness it or not. This creates a profound and paradoxical effect. Because she is not trying to steer the connection toward commitment, he is the one who becomes obsessed with it. Her detachment gives him the psychic space to truly feel her absence and to genuinely contemplate a future without her. And this contemplation is terrifying. A woman who is constantly pushing for a future gives a man something to push back against. But a woman who is serenely unconcerned with the future gives him nothing to fight and everything to lose. He realizes that commitment is not something she is trying to extract from him, but a choice he must make to keep this extraordinary, present moment reality alive. He is not being trapped into a future. He is terrified of losing a present. The less she needs a commitment from him, the more he feels a soul-deep need to offer it. It is not an act of surrender. It is his ultimate bid to stay in the presence of a woman who has taught him the profound and intoxicating beauty of the now. Her radical presence in the now and her detachment from outcomes are fueled by the fourth dark trait, one that society relentlessly tries to shame out of women: her unapologetic ambition. This is not just ambition in her career, although that is often a part of it. It is a fierce, primal, and non-negotiable ambition for her own life, for the full expression of her own potential, for the relentless expansion of her own soul. Her life is not a waiting room for a relationship. It is a grand, unfolding work of art, and she is both the artist and the masterpiece. Most women are taught to subtly shrink their ambitions to make a man feel more comfortable, more needed. They learn to dim their own light so as not to intimidate. The woman of the dark feminine considers this an act of profound self-betrayal. She will not make herself smaller to fit into his world. She is unapologetically building an empire of her own, an empire of knowledge, of creativity, of purpose, of spiritual depth, and she is utterly, blissfully unconcerned with whether or not a man is intimidated by it. Her purpose is her primary partner. A man, however wonderful, is secondary. This is not a rejection of the masculine. It is the ultimate challenge to it. She is not looking for a man to build her empire for her, nor is she looking for a man to co-rule it. She is looking for a man who is so secure in the kingdom of his own being that he can celebrate the strength of hers without feeling diminished by it. She is looking for a king who is not threatened by a queen, but inspired by her. Do you understand how this filters out the weak, the insecure, the boys who are masquerading as men? The man who is intimidated by her ambition is a man who has none of his own, at least not for the things that truly matter. He is a man defined by the shallow metrics of the ego, and he is a stranger to the currency of the soul. A man of substance, a true high-value man, is not intimidated. He is activated. Her ambition ignites his own. Her commitment to her purpose inspires him to deepen his own. He sees in her not a competitor, but a collaborator on the highest possible level. She becomes the standard against which he measures himself. He looks at her life, a life of meaning and passion and relentless self-creation, and it makes him hungry for more from his own. The idea of commitment to such a woman is not a sacrifice. It is an investment in his own becoming. By aligning with her, he is aligning with the part of himself that longs for greatness, for purpose, for a life that is not merely lived, but sculpted. This leads directly to the fifth and final trait, the one that seals the bond. It is her comfort with his darkness. The good girl is taught to fear the masculine shadow, his anger, his doubt, his pain. She meets it with fear, with judgment, or with a desperate need to fix it. But the woman who has done her own shadow work is not afraid of the dark. She has journeyed through her own, and so, when he reveals a flicker of his own shadow, she does not flinch. She does not run. She meets it with a quiet, unwavering presence. She is not a savior, but a sovereign witness. His darkness is not a problem to be solved. It is simply a part of the territory of his soul. Her calm acceptance is the one thing he has never experienced. She is not afraid of his demons, and this makes her the one safe harbor where he can finally, terrifyingly, put down his sword and just be a man. Committing to her is not a choice. It is a homecoming.